When My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy dropped in 2011, I read something that would change my life forever. The words, Keyboards by Mike Dean. That one-liner note sent me on a journey traveling the globe trying to get my hands on the best analog synths left in the world, and I finally completed my goal. I meticulously recorded and multi-sampled the best of those synths for our new plugin called Scorch. It even includes 7 of the same synths that you can find in my hero, Mike Dean's Synth Heaven. And today I'm going to be showing you how Scorch is going to level up your analog sounds with the best, yes, the best curated synth sounds ever. With Scorch, you get access to 20 gigabytes of high quality sampled synths like the Moog 1, the Memory Moog, the Chroma ARP, the Juno 60, the Jupiter 8, and many, many more, all inside of one plugin. This will give you the best warm, textured synth sounds in the game. Plus, I'll show you how Scorch's built-in effects can help you squeeze even more vintage and analog texture out of the presets. That was a preset in the synth pad section called Astro Sounds. It was sampled from the Hydra synth, which is a new digital synth that we've seen pop up in Mike Dean's Instagram feed. It's a great starter synth if you're looking to get your first piece of hardware, and it's relatively cheap compared to the other synths we used in Scorch. You can get one for roughly $1,200, and like I mentioned in the recording of these sounds for Scorch, we had access to 7 of the same synths that you can find in Mike Dean's collection, which also includes the $10,000 Moog, which I guarantee is worth every penny if you can get one. My homie Brian, who's produced records for Don Toliver, Kid Cudi, Juice WRLD, Polo G, Young Thug, and many more. He's a hardware guy, so I sent him an early copy of Scorch before it was released to make sure that we did justice to the synths. And this is what he sent me via text. I'm usually someone who enjoys producing outside of the box, mainly using hardware. When I got Scorch, I was amazed with the sound selection and the abilities to tweak and design one preset in itself to a bunch of capabilities. It's a tool that's in my current rotation, and yes, even around all my gear. That says a lot. And I think we were able to do the synths justice because we recorded them to mimic the way that they sounded in real life. When you play the Moog 1, the sound is constantly changing because of the aftertouch features and the panning features. Every time you play the same melody, it changes slightly. With the Moog 1 synth sounds inside of Scorch, we multi-sampled them so that the same thing happens. As you change the velocity in your piano roll, the sound will continue to change in the synth. This preset is called Beast or Burden. Scorch, you get access to those warm analog sounds off of the Moog 1, and all you have to do if you want to manipulate and expand on those sounds is turn the center dial, and now we can take that harsh pad and turn it into a more lo-fi sounding pad. Take a listen to this. Still with those warm textures though. We're just helping squeeze more out of it. Again, you want to manipulate it even farther, continue to turn the wheel, and it's going to change how the instrument sounds. LFO going with the filter. And this is without any work. We recorded one of the best synths for pads ever created. The 1980 Roland Jupiter 8, which you can buy on Reverb for a whopping, this is crazy, $32,000 to $50,000. Now this synth has been popping up a lot in Metro Boomin's pictures on IG, and in this recording, you're gonna realize why he's probably using it. And what you can see that's happening here, I'm only playing one note. That's because I'm using Scorch's built-in chord generator to generate these chords. A big lush sound there that I was using with the chord generator. You can quickly turn on the chord generator and you instantly have access to some of the best chord progressions in rap, R&B, soul, gospel, all at your fingertips. So you can do something like this, and if you want to farther manipulate them, all you have to do is right click, burn the MIDI, hit new pattern. It's going to open up those chords in another pattern so that you can manipulate them even farther. Another classic synth that we had to record, it's my favorite synth of all time. It is the 1970s Rhodes Chroma. This synth also isn't cheap depending on the condition that you find it in. You can get one between $10,000 and $20,000. This synth is the dirtiest, noisiest synth I have ever used in my entire life, and I love it for that reason. It has the nicest lo-fi sounds of any of the synths that I use, and that's why we wanted to make sure that we included it in Scorch. Again, these were all multi-sampled, so if you want to make the sound more intense, just bring up the velocity. This thing is so dirty, listen to this. Great for those dark trap beats. A synth I've seen pop up in quite a few studio posts on Instagram recently, including Wonder Girls, is the Memory Moog. Again, another one for those great dark sounding loops. And this is all velocity sensitive. Turn this up, bring out more of that intense sound from the synth. This synth will cost you about $15,000, and when it was first released in the 1980s, it was a major flop. It has a very harsh and aggressive sound, which wasn't close to the beautiful, lush sound of the 80s Jupiter 8, but that's the reason why I love it. That harsh sound is just great for these lo-fi trap sounds. And the way that we recorded this, we recorded the contour, which helps make the synth more aggressive. So as you play with the velocity, you can really change how aggressive the synth sounds. Again, bring it all the way up to blast that contour. Another thing you can quickly do to manipulate your sound, bring out more of that texture and really switch it up, is just turn this center dial. Take a listen to this now. See how it shortened it? You could use that for the B section. If we want to manipulate it even farther, we just keep turning this center dial. Okay, so now we got the LFO going. Really switching it up, and you could use this in a B section. We could drop this down one octave, get some really rich dark tones, all simply by using that center dial to really just boost the effects. The last synth on the list actually isn't a synth, but it can be found in a lot of the studio pictures that Mike Dean posts. It's a Rhodes electric piano. The Rhodes was the sound of the 1970s, which is why you can find it so often in those old vintage samples. The Rhodes that we recorded, we actually time stretched after the fact to give it even more of a vintage sound. Just take a listen to this. Listen to all those great textures. We used analog gear in the recording process to bring out those warm, rich tones that you just heard there. Take a listen to this. This is called Code Delta Rhodes. We barely scratched the surface, but those are some of the sounds that you can find inside of Scorch today. To find out more about our new plugin Scorch, hit the description in the bio below. Scorch is a new sample-based instrument for rap producers. We took what we are hearing in rap production and put it into a beautifully designed plugin built for rap producers. We wanted to stay true to the genre, so we worked with sample makers, sound designers, and producers in the industry to bring a unique and modern sound to Scorch. Plus, Scorch comes with a built-in chord generator and effects to help you push the limits of what's next. Make sure you subscribe to the channel to get all the updates on Scorch and the other projects that we've been working on, and I'll talk to you again soon.